The only way you lose money in the stock market is if you do options, right? So a lot of us, right, we understand that options have high risk, high reward, right? Like if you get into a play that 10x's in a week, right, and you get 100 shares of that contract, right, then you make a lot of money, right? Maybe you could make $1,000 in a week or something like that, right? Who knows? But the whole point is that there's high risk, high reward, and the problem, right, alongside, because there's pros and cons to trading. The problem is that if you get to a point where your contract is down 50% or more, right, and you have 3 days or 4 days till expiration, there's a good likelihood that your stock will expire and you will lose the money that you're down, right? So if you're down $500, you'll lose $500. If you're down $400, you'll lose that amount. So the issue with trading, right, is that the money you work hard for to invest, right, it can easily part ways with you, right? There's a saying, a fool and his money part ways, right? So if you're, and the whole idea behind trading, like I said, there's nothing wrong with trading, right? I mean, obviously if you have the time and you have the expertise and potential insider knowledge, or just have time to study, right, of course you can make it work with leaps and with the wheel strategy and things like this, right? But for the average person, right, who just wants to put their money aside and let it grow and let it do its thing, and not really have to pay attention to your investments, right? Buying and holding is by far the best way to build wealth. And the thing with buying and holding, right, you don't lose your money. You don't actually lose it when it goes down unless you sell, right? So yeah, okay, let's say we have a recession or we have a bear market and prices are just plummeting, right? People are selling, or some news came out, and like the other week, right, with China, everyone started selling their stocks, everything went down, everything took a hit. But if you're a buy and hold investor, right, which I think is the safest way to invest, then you're fine, right? You didn't panic when things went south. So buying and holding by far is the best way to build wealth, with less headache and less worry and less up and down, and it's honestly better, I think, emotionally and mentally, right? As opposed to, trading options, right, with the obvious potential to earn more or to get more, but but also the potential to lose your money, which again, I personally, guys, me speaking, I don't want to lose any of the money that I work hard for. I put time into my job, I work hard, I show up, I want that money to be stored, and I want that money to be safe. So yeah, that's the thesis on buying and holding and why I think it's the best way to build wealth.